Coming up on this edition of the Rockbridge Report, we update you on a murder case involving a former Virginia Tech student.
Fresh off her appearance at Washington and Lee and Virginia Military Institute, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg spoke again at Stanford University. We tell you what she said there that she didn't say in Lexington. And in local news, restaurants are finding creative ways to attract new customers. We show you what they're doing to boost traffic.
And finally, we show you how a teacher is glowing about her class's new pets. All that and more next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Kinsey Grant.
And I'm Polly Niskova.
The murder trial of a former Virginia Tech student accused of killing a 13-year-old girl has been postponed. On Wednesday, a judge agreed to delay the trial of David Eisenhower, who was scheduled to be tried in March for the 2016 slaying of Nicole Lovell. Eisenhower is charged with first-degree murder, abduction, and hiding Lovell's body. His attorneys also want the trial moved out of Montgomery County, saying local news coverage has made it difficult for a fair trial. A new trial date has not yet been set.
President Trump and everybody interested in his travel ban are still awaiting a decision from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Earlier this week, the court heard arguments for and against the ban. At issue is whether the order unfairly targets Muslims and if the president has the authority to initiate the rule based on national security. CNN's Joe Johns reports.
3 federal judges of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals grilling lawyers from the Justice Department and Washington State in a hearing by phone Tuesday night. Both sides fighting back skepticism from the court.
Either you have the evidence presented in the record or you don't.
The Justice Department attorney August Flingy arguing President Trump has the legal authority to impose a travel ban without court review, citing national security.
Are you arguing then that the president's decision in that regard is unreviewable?
Yes.
Judge William Canby pushing back on Flingy's logic.
Could the president simply say in the order, we're not going to let any Muslims in?
That's not what the order does here.
Could he do that? Could he do that?
That's not what the order does.
Would anybody be able to challenge that?
That's not what the order does here.
Flingy acknowledging his argument might not be working.
I'm not sure I'm convincing the courts.
Judge Richard Clifton questioning Washington State's claim shows a direct intent to discriminate against Muslims.
I have trouble understanding why we're supposed to infer religious animus when in fact the vast majority of Muslims would not be affected as residents of those nations.
Your Honor, the case law from this court and the Supreme Court is very clear that to prove religious discrimination, we do not need to prove that this order harms only Muslims or that it harms every Muslim. We just need to prove that it was motivated in part by a desire to harm Muslims.
Do I have to believe everything you allege and say, well, that must be right? That's not the standard.
President Trump continues defending his hastily implemented ban.
Some things are law, and I'm all in favor of that. And some things are common sense. This is common sense.
While the president's new Homeland Security Secretary told a House committee he regrets how the presidential order was rolled out.
I should have delayed it just a bit so that I could talk to members of Congress, particularly the leadership of committees like this, to prepare them for what was coming.
President Trump is attacking those who are challenging his executive order travel ban, including the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. He read U.S. immigration law to a group of police officers, saying even a bad high school student would agree with him.
You could be a lawyer, or you don't have to be a lawyer. If you were a good student in high school or a bad student in high school, you can understand this. And it's really incredible to me that we have a court case that's going on so long. As you know, in Boston, we won it with a highly respected judge and a very strong opinion. But now we're in an area that, let's just say, they are interpreting things differently than probably 100% of the people in this room.
Trump's Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch called the president's attack on the judiciary disheartening and demoralizing in a meeting with Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal Wednesday.
After Senator Elizabeth Warren was prevented from reading a letter from civil rights activist Coretta Scott King on the Senate floor on Tuesday, several male colleagues were allowed to read some or all of the letter uninterrupted. The more than 30-year-old letter about her concerns about Senator Jeff Sessions, President Trump's pick for Attorney General, was read on record Wednesday morning, hours before the Senate was set to vote.
My colleague from Massachusetts was sharing the letter that Coretta Scott King presented, or her testimony in March 13th of 1986 to the Senate Judiciary Committee.
This is how it goes. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, this is from Coretta Scott King. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to express my strong opposition to the nomination of Jefferson Sessions for federal district judgeship for the Southern District of Alabama.
My professional and personal roots in Alabama are deep and lasting. Anyone who has the power of his office as United States Attorney to intimidate and chill the free exercise of the ballot of the citizens should not be elevated to our courts.
Mr. Sessions has used the awesome powers of his office in a shabby attempt to intimidate and frighten elderly black voters. For this reprehensible conduct, he should not be rewarded with a federal judgeship.
Senator Warren was told by Majority Leader Mitch McConnell she was impugning Sessions' reputation and was ordered to take her seat. She was barred from speaking on the floor for the remainder of the debate on Sessions' nomination. Late Wednesday, Sessions was confirmed by the Senate with a final vote of 52 to 47. A 3-judge panel in North Carolina temporarily blocked a new state law that would have required Senate confirmation for Governor Roy Cooper's cabinet members. The state law was passed in the waning days of former Governor Pat McCrory's administration and seen by Democrats as a way to undermine the new governor's authority. Cooper sued over this and other laws that reduced his powers after he was sworn in on January 1st. The law would have been similar to what the U.S. Senate does for the president's cabinet appointees.
Fresh off her visit to Lexington, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg continued her public speaking tour at Stanford University on Monday. In California, Ginsburg spoke on more than just her life and the Virginia Military Institute ruling. CNN's Betty Yu has the story.
Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the oldest on the U.S. Supreme Court and leader of its liberal wing, opened her hour-long discussion by explaining what makes a meaningful life.
You will do something outside yourself, something to repair tears in your community, something to make life a little better for people less fortunate.
The 83-year-old did not offer her opinion on President Trump's recent nomination to the Supreme Court, and Stanford said she could not comment on his executive orders. But last summer, she said she feared for the country if Trump were elected. She later apologized. When a student asked her what she'd like to change in our society,
well, some things that I would like to change, one is the Electoral College, but that was...
Ginsburg shared her experience as a law student when there were few women in the field, raising a daughter, and credited her husband for her success on the bench. She also stressed the importance of respecting colleagues who don't always agree.
I wish there were a way I could wave a magic wand and put it back when people were respectful of each other and the Congress was working for the good of the country and not just along party lines.
Coming up, we tell you what one Army official promised not to talk about while at VMI.
And later, more about one lawmaker's attempt to defund Planned Parenthood.
Is our people. A lack of action emboldens aggressors, emboldens adversaries.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
He's on his way. He doesn't even know that we're here. Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay.
Laura.
Okay, try to call him again.
There's no signal.
Try.
Nothing's working.
Well, just
Everything's down.
This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
Virginia Military Institute welcomed former Army Chief of Staff Mark Milley to their campus on Wednesday. General Milley promised at the beginning of his speech that unlike Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who came to campus a week before, he wouldn't talk about the Supreme Court ruling that admitted women to VMI. Maggie Siebold reports on what Milley did say to the cadets.
General Milley became the 39th Chief of Staff of the United States Army 2 years ago. He warned against isolationism and complacency.
Historically, the trends are that a lack of action emboldens aggressors, emboldens adversaries, and risks a greater conflict. Aggression left unanswered leads to more aggression.
He said that the United States is most successful when we work with our allies.
As we, the United States, cannot ensure global security by ourselves. World War II demonstrated that.
Milley said that the United States is one team.
We don't go to war. The nation goes to war. It's the nation that wins wars. It's everybody all in all the time.
Milley said that the nations that can adapt have an advantage. He predicts cyber warfare and robots will change the character of warfare.
And the time will come when robots will have widespread use in the conduct of ground war.
The prominence of cities will also change the methods of warfare.
An army fighting in an urban area has to be fundamentally different, organized, and equipped than an army fighting on the plains of Northern Europe.
Milley urged the cadets to behave and perform ethically in the field.
We are going to need leaders at all levels who have incredible character under unbelievably intense pressure.
I think it's important to be an ethical leader, like he said, because we're not in the ground war anymore.
Milley also said that the key to success in the future is remaining mindful of the past. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Maggie Siebold.
All right, Catherine, the Northeast is getting pummeled with snow. We had some today, but I was wearing shorts yesterday. So what can we expect as we're moving forward with this week?
We only have a little more cold days before we get back to some warm weather this weekend. So let's take a look at the live shot over Woods Creek. And now we can take a look at today's weather. We had a high of 39 and a low of 19. We were reading 29.92 inches of mercury, high wind speeds at 33 miles per hour and 46% humidity. For area weather, it's pretty much cloudy all across the board with 19 degrees in Covington, 32 in Stanton, 40 in Charlottesville, and 37 in Roanoke. So let's take a look at the radar screen. It looks like we may be getting a system moving in, so I think that'll hit us later in the week. So let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. Friday, we have a high of 42 and a low of 35 with some clouds in the sky. Saturday, we start to see a little bit of sun with a high of 60 and a low of 49. Sunday, it's going to get a little warmer with a high of 67 and a low of 41. All sunshine on Monday with a high of 56 and a low of 33, and we might be seeing a little bit of rain on Tuesday with a high of 53 and a low of 34. And that's your 5-day forecast. Kinsey and Polly, back to you.
Thanks, Catherine. I sure am looking forward to the warm temperatures this weekend. Coming up, I sit down with producer Nelson Helm to discuss what state and local lawmakers are doing to help underemployment in the area.
And later, we'll show you what restaurants are doing to kick those winter blues.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
No more pencils, no more books, no more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out for summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
The Virginia House of Delegates voted Tuesday to defund Planned Parenthood despite protests by women's groups in the Capitol. Rockbridge Delegate Ben Klein's bill would cut off federal Title X funding for any group that performs abortions in Virginia. Planned Parenthood said loss of the funding would significantly undermine services at its 5 clinics in the state. Klein introduced a similar bill in the 2016 legislative session, but the bill was vetoed by Governor Terry McAuliffe. The bill would not apply to licensed hospitals.
This week, our producer Nelson Helm and I took a look into the issues of minimum wage and underemployment in the Rockbridge area. Earlier today, I sat down with Nelson to discuss what we found.
Yeah, so underemployment is when workers are trained for high-skilled jobs like welding, but are in low-skill or low-wage jobs like fast food, so they're really not utilizing their skills to the fullest potential.
And minimum wage is a big factor that plays into that. And here in Virginia, we're one of 21 states that have not raised their minimum wage beyond the federal minimum. With other states raising their base pay 19 just this January, is it likely that we'll see a wage hike soon?
No, all 5 bills in the General Assembly were killed last month, but I did talk to State Senator Creed Deeds on the phone, and he said that General Assembly is really trying to use the community colleges to their fullest potential through retraining programs there. So Dabney, Lancaster, Virginia Western Community College, and Roanoke all have retraining programs that are designed to get people right back into the workforce.
One local business owner starts all of his employees above the federal minimum. Can you talk about how other local organizations are combating this issue?
Yeah, so the Chamber of Commerce just announced that they're partnering with Dabney Lancaster to add more retraining programs. Dabney Lancaster already has programs in place. They have welding programs, nursing programs, culinary programs that are all designed to put people right back into the workforce, and they're hoping to add some more in the near future.
You can read more about underemployment in the Rockbridge area at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. Kroger pharmacies in Lexington and Buena Vista are now selling the opioid overdose antidote Narcan over the counter. The drug is a fast-acting nasal spray that reverses the effects of opioids until emergency medical care is provided. The decision comes after Virginia's health commissioner declared in November that opioid addiction is a public health emergency. The antidote costs $150 at Kroger, but is covered by most health insurance plans. CVS pharmacies have been selling the drug over the counter since May 2016.
County officials say the region's new emergency call center building in Buena Vista should be completed in the next 2 months, allowing employees to serve the community in less cramped conditions. But setting up the new digital radio system could cause delays to the project. The radio's successful installation will determine when employees actually move into the new building. Rockbridge County Administrator Spencer Suter said he will give an update on the building at the County Board of Supervisors meeting on Monday. And Lexington restaurants are thinking of new ways to get people into their establishments during the weekday. Katrina Lewis traveled down to Main Street.
Between Christmas and Valentine's Day, dining downtown loses its momentum.
It can be fairly slow. We can do as little as, 10 people.
Last Wednesday, the Southern Inn, Red Hen, Bistro on Main, and Haywoods hosted a grub crawl to generate excitement during what's otherwise their off-season.
We think it's the exposure. It gives people a reason beyond just their standard going out to dinner. It gives them a reason to make a reservation because it is special.
Organizers of the grub crawl hope the event will help change the pace of business in the middle of the week, in the middle of the winter.
We talked to some people and it is such a small town, so they save those experiences for special occasions. And so it kind of encourages them to get out and experience the local flair when they normally wouldn't do it during the winter time.
The idea is to broaden the base of customers, too.
We do want to find ways to bring folks in the larger community, beyond just the school communities, out to meet one another and participate in our hospitality and our food and beverage service.
Locals like that the grub crawl offers a change of pace.
I think it makes sense for the restaurants to do things together, kind of to boost their own business, and for people who are also kind of in that post-Christmas slump to do something a little different and a little kind of out of the box.
The restaurant owners say they plan to host another grub crawl when business slows down again this summer. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Katrina Lewis.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report,
one athlete tells you why the clock never lies.
And we show you how one special education class is glowing. All that and more next on the Rockbridge Report.
Jimmy can't sing, and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
Emma, you're having a bad day when the game isn't the only thing you lose.
That's right, Polly. The St. Louis men's basketball team lost more than just its game Wednesday night. It also lost its bus. The Billikens walked out of the arena Wednesday night following the team's 70-55 loss to St. Bonaventure and discovered their bus driver had taken off. Police located the bus 40 miles away after using GPS tracking on an iPad left on the bus. The driver, 56-year-old Linda Edmister, was charged with driving a commercial vehicle while intoxicated. Her BAC was .22. Washington and Lee's women's basketball team fell to Virginia Wesleyan 64-72 in overtime, and the men lost to Guilford 66-68. Southern Virginia University's women's basketball team also suffered a loss to Penn State Harrisburg. The final score was 89-69. The men's team had better luck, winning their game 88-76. It was a good week in sports for local high schools. The Perry McClure boys basketball team beat Craig County 58-13 on Tuesday. The Fighting Blues will play the Covington boys tonight at home. The girls team crushed Bath County last night 78-2 to continue their 17-game win streak and finish their regular season undefeated in the Pioneer District. Rockbridge County High School boys and girls basketball teams both beat Stanton River Tuesday night. The boys won 61-52 and the girls came away victorious 42-30. There's a lot more that goes into being a runner than one might think. Alexandra Klein has the story.
My name is Chris McMichael and I'm a physics and math major at W&L and I run cross country and track. My favorite part about running is that unlike other sports like basketball and soccer, it's not just a coach's favorite kind of thing who plays. It's really the clock never lies and the best people are going to be seen by who crosses the finish line first. So it's what you put into it, is what you get out of it. So hard work really pays off and you can really see how well you're progressing by how much effort you're putting into the sport. When you think of sports that involve running, normally people think that all you do to train is just go out and run. But that's not exactly it. Obviously, yeah, there's tons of running. So I'm at 60 miles a week normally. But there's also, workouts that are specifically designed to work different energy systems and accomplish different points and work on different parts of the race. And then there's also lifting, where you have to get, actually have strong muscles, because if your muscles are stronger, you can run faster. And, plyometrics and hurdle drills and stretching and ice baths and all these other different components that go into training that you wouldn't necessarily think of, but they're super important to be successful as an athlete. It's definitely something I'm going to try to compete in for as long as I can.
Maury River Middle School special education class received glowfish from Lexington Pet Place owner Cindy Jacobs a month ago. Caroline Blackman has the story on how it's changed the class atmosphere.
The light from the glowfish illuminates room D113. Special education teacher Robin Richard says they relax and calm everyone in the room.
I have two students in particular who can get very stressed, and they will take a chair and sit over there and watch the fish, and you can just see within 10 minutes their stress level is right back down.
Pet store owner Cindy Jacobs donated the fish and the aquarium to Richard's class.
The glowfish they're very pretty and they're very bright. They synchronize with each other and move in tandem.
Richard became interested in teaching kids with special needs because her son had Down syndrome and autism.
Rockbridge County High School, the year he started to go to high school, they had a program for functional curriculum and life skills. So he started to attend, and unfortunately he was killed in a car accident in December of that year. So it enlightened me as to what kind of programs were there. And so I went and got my master's in special education and decided to start teaching.
This is Richard's first year teaching life skills and special education classes at Maury River.
They are all my kids. I love them very much. They're each unique and they have so much to offer, and they teach me a lot more than I teach them.
Principal Randy Walters says Richard's creative approach has helped the children.
I think when they get to go into her classroom and do the things that she designs and creates for them to do, they want to come to school.
Richard says she can feel a change in the class atmosphere after only a month.
It calms me down. When at the end of the day, there's nothing like sitting there and just watching and absorbing, and the kids are learning that.
Jacob said Richard's new glowfish habitat inspired her and that she might set up one permanently in her store. I'm Caroline Blackman with the Rockbridge Report.
That's all the time we have for today's Rockbridge Report.
Join us again on Tuesday for a live update and again Thursday for a newest edition.
You can also visit our website at any time at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. Thank you for watching.